What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. Thank you very much for stopping by. Thanks for coming to my humble office here. So today I would like to talk about a hybrid chassis install commission that I completed on a KR Sabers Crossguard. Now, this particular project has been in the works for a few months now, several months, and it has finally come to a completion. This started prior to the holidays, so we had to go through holiday. I had to get some, find time to design the chassis, get it off to the printers. The printers took a little bit longer than normal over the holiday break. So everything is done and ready to go. So I do want to come into Fusion and talk about this chassis, and then we will come up top and talk about how to use the hilt, how to put a battery in, and all of that, right? So the customer for this particular commission did have some requests for their install. Specifically, obviously, we wanted to go with a hybrid chassis for this one. I was able to accommodate most of the requests. I was able to get a Bluetooth module in this install. It is a CFX build, and we have a chassis with multiple brass components on it as well, right? So let's come into Fusion and talk about those parts, and then we will come up top. All right, so here it is, the chassis for the KR Sabers Crossguard. So those of you who have held the Crossguard in hand or inspected it, it is a big hilt. There is a lot of real estate going on the inside of this hilt, right? So I had plenty of room to do a full brass battery cover as well as, a board cover, okay? There is also plenty of room to fully enclose a 28 millimeter bass speaker, right? So there's a 28 millimeter bass speaker at the bottom here. Underneath this board cover, let me get this board cover out of the way. Underneath this board cover is where our CFX lives. So the crystal focus board will slide up underneath this lip just a little bit. It does press fit down into this cavity, and then I've got a kill switch just underneath that, right? And then that board is held in place with some rectangular neodymium magnets, right? The Aurebesh that is on the side of this, it was at the request of the customer. So there's your phrase in Aurebesh. On the other side, here is our battery cover, okay? So the battery cover obviously covers the battery, all right? It is held in place with some other rectangular neodymium magnets as well, right? Really, really thick, hefty battery cover. Making our way up top, I've got a pretty detailed brass reveal section, right? So for this particular design, at the time I had been looking at a lot of stills from the Apollo program, like some F1 engines, and a lot of looking at a lot of engines while I was doing this design. So there's some heat sinks on the side here, some like flex tubing, and then like this almost looks like it's just like exhaust tubing almost. But to kink these, this was a little bit different. I haven't done kinking like that on pipes before, so that was a little bit different for this build, right? And then some other greebly work and vent work across the top, right? So this nipple will marry up into a secondary like PLA part that will help marry the entire chassis assembly up into the hilt, right? There's kind of a lip on these kylos, right? So you can't exactly marry up the chassis all the way up into that lip. Otherwise, you wouldn't see any of this, right? So I essentially had to create an extension for this part. And we'll talk about that right now, right? When we come up top. But that's it. Nice chassis. A lot of brass in this chassis. A lot. Like this is a full brass upper. Super heavy. So that's it. Let's come up top. All right, so here it is. This is the Crossguard from KR Sabers. Big hilt, hefty hilt, right? So this came to me already weathered from KR Sabers. I think KR Sabers has the name is failing me at the moment. I think it's Multiverse Props that did the weathering on these. Right, so this came to me already weathered. It also came with the quillions painted as well from, I believe Multiverse does that. So that's it for the hilt, right? Your typical Kylo hilt. There's just so much room on the inside of this grip. So let's go ahead and take this off. So there are 3 set screws around the circumference here that secure this grip in place. I have removed them for the demo, obviously. Right, so let's go ahead and take that grip off. So here is the chassis. Okay, brass battery cover, brass board cover, and there is the upper reveal section, right? So you can kind of tell just above that is another 3D printed part that just helps to continue the chassis up into this upper cavity, right? But that's it, right? I really like how this upper section came out, just kind of switching up the design aesthetic on that one. All of the brass has been weathered, okay? And that is it. So let's talk about how to use this guy. This is a CFX build, okay? I actually had a lot of fun doing this CFX build for once. The past few CFX installs that I've done have actually been a pleasurable experience, I must say. Coming from like I'd say at this point I'm an 80% Profi board install house, and the rest are just the other boards. CFX is a nice board, especially when you have a room, right? So one of the reasons this was probably a good experience for me was because the chassis is so big. There's just plenty of room to like to get all of your wire management underneath this board. So this board is press fit down in here. It will pop up if you need to get at that USB. I was going to remove the USB port on this one, but it was not necessary for this, for clearance wise. So I just decided to keep it, right? But there is your CFX. I'm going to go ahead and put a battery in this guy. So spring side is your negative. You want to take the flat part of your battery, put it down towards the speaker. This was already on. Okay. This was already on, right? If you don't hear anything, hit that kill switch. Now, kill switch, you know, it's, in my opinion, I never really thought that a kill switch was completely necessary for CFX builds because it has such an efficient deep sleep mode, right? But with that being said, just having the peace of mind of having a kill switch, and when there is room, I do add them, even for CFX builds, right? So this is on. Once you get your battery in, you can hit that kill switch, by the way, through this hole that is in the top of the hilt. Let's put our battery cover on. Really love how strong these magnets are that I use, right? So once everything is in place, I do also want to mention there is a Bluetooth module in here. It is underneath all of this metal. So when using Rice or using the Crystal Focus Bluetooth app or whichever app you choose to use, you're probably going to want to have your phone or your device a little bit closer than normal, just for the signal strength, right? This Bluetooth module is the one that is suggested by Tristan and company at the Crystal Focus developers. It's the longer Bluetooth module, right? So that is in here. All right, let's try and actually, I want to do a quick demo of that. Let me get my phone here. So I use the Force Sync app. That's only because it's already on my phone. Okay, there is a Crystal FX app. I think it's for Android and iOS. But I'm just going to use the Force Sync app because I already have it on my phone, right? So here is the name of the Bluetooth module. I have not changed the name of any of the, like I haven't changed the password on the Bluetooth, and I haven't changed the name of it, right? So the stock password is either, it's 6 ones or 6 zeros. If you are pairing it to your phone or to the app for the first time. Then you want to tap CFX. And now we are connected, right? So you can hit power, flash, swing. All of this can be done remotely. The cool thing about CFX is that apps work properly with CFX. So with Profi Board, Bluetooth, kind of redundant. You really cannot do anything with Bluetooth on a Profi Board, specifically with iOS. Right, the Force Sync app on iOS with Profi Board, all you can do is turn the hilt on, turn it off, clash. You can't change colors. You can't really do anything. I'm not sure why they stopped development on that for Profi Board, but here we are, right? You can also change the blade color in your app. I'm not going to change it right now. But yeah, you can change your volume, all your UI volume, all that stuff. Okay. So that is it. Pretty handy feature, actually. And then, of course, you can get Rice connected and you can do all your configuring wirelessly through that, okay? So once you get your battery on and you're ready to go, you can put your grip back on. Putting your grip on, I like to line up this notch that's in the grip with the switches. Okay, so slide your grip in place. I'm only going to put one of those pan headset screws in for the demo video. So you want to put that screw on, thread it in place till it stops. Okay, and you're ready to go. I was scared for a second there. I thought I didn't turn it on. Great sounding hilt. All right. I have also added twist to activate, twist to deactivate on some of these configs, right? So that's it. Let's come down to the bottom. Yeah, one of the things that I am still, there it is. There's the hilt in all its glory. One of the things that I am still not schooled on, and I really need to take the time to do the research. Listen, I don't know what it is in the past couple of weeks. A lot of people, and I hope this doesn't come across as abrasive. A lot of people have been asking me to work on their configs for them. Now, as an installer, I obviously don't have a problem putting a config on a hilt. You have to, or it won't work. As far as going anywhere beyond that, like adding, fonts, adding special colors, adding special blade styles, within reason, and I say this take this with a grain of salt. Within reason, I will add a custom font or two. If you ask me to, I'll do it, right? If you want me to config like 25 different fonts on your hilt, it's really not something that I do. I do not have the time. B, I just these are products that there are a plethora of resources out there on Profiboard config, Crystal Focus config, Golden Harvest config. There are numerous YouTube videos done by creators out there that can walk you through doing all that stuff. When you come to me for an install, I will install your hilt. However, I cannot be desktop support for you after the fact. I just do not have the time. I don't have the time to do that. So I try to be very transparent and upfront with people when they come to me for installs. What my process is with configs. I'm not perfect. There have been a number of times where I've forgotten to put the config on the person's SD card. In fact, I do it more often than not, and I need to get better at that. However, as far as like editing stuff and making, putting blade styles and configs and sound fonts and special UI sounds, it's just not something that I do. Because you can learn. It's not that hard. It just takes time. And I'm speaking, for myself, I need to learn Crystal Focus more. I really need to take the time to do the research. I know there is a lot of resources out there. There's perhaps more for Crystal Focus for CFX than there are for Profiboard. But I just need to do a little bit more of my own research and learn Crystal Focus more. Because every time it comes down to like configuring these boards for Crystal Focus and like getting my custom blade styles and all that, it's like it breaks my brain, because I just think that for me, like just looking at code is easier on Profi, but doing blade styles on CFX is a little bit more difficult. So I've talked about this in previous videos where each board has its different strengths and weaknesses, right? So, but yeah, as far as like configuring and everything, I've put the basic font package on here that came with the board. I did remove some fonts, but other than that, it's relatively stock. I did play around with some of the blade colors, but as far as like, spending the time to do custom configs for people, it's just, hopefully this is not taken the wrong way. I don't have the time. I just really don't have the time to do it. And I also, you can learn. You can learn. It's not very difficult. It just takes, again, it takes time. And there are resources out there where you can get help. There are Facebook groups. There's a lightsaber Discord, which, by the way, the folks in there are super helpful. And the electronics and sound channel, if you need help, you can go in there. Reddit is another great resource. YouTube. YouTube is a fantastic resource for a lot of this stuff. Brian Connor, No Sloppy, has done a walkthrough for Profiboard, not for CFX, where he will walk you through how to do everything. If you've got the time, you've got to take the time to learn the skill. If you want to utilize the product that you have, I mean, you spend a lot of money. Folks spend a lot of money on these, and they should be able to get the full potential out of them, right? It's like if I went to a car lot and I went to buy a car, I'm not going to ask the salesman to show me how to drive it after the fact. Is kind of where I'm going with that. And I know that sounds sarcastic and snarky, but hey, that's who I am, unfortunately, for people who can't deal with that. So anyway, with my little, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Here it is, right? The Crossguard from KR Sabers, big chunky hilt. This hilt sounds so good, right? So let's go ahead and put a blade in this guy. I am going to put a 7/8 inch blade in the quillion sections just to show that we're working and we're good to go, right? But yeah, let's get a blade in it. So there are blade plugs in each one of these emitters. There are also set screws that hold these blade plugs in place, right? So I'm going to take out that main blade plug. The main blade is a 1-inch blade, right? So you want to rest your blade on those PCB pins and then tighten your set screw. Okay.
I pushed you in the desert because I needed to see you.
This went to sleep already. Yeah, one of the things that's great about CFX is deep sleep. I have a CFX install here, and the battery's been in it for almost a year. And I'm sure if I turn that on, in fact, watch this. I hope I have a battery in this. I didn't take it out.
With the blast shield down, I can't even see. How am I supposed to fight?
So
Eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
deep sleep on CFX is how am I going to say this without sounding like a Profiboard fanboy? Listen, deep sleep on CFX is great. It really, really is. I've been waiting for deep sleep on Profiboard for years. I thought it was coming with Profi V3, but I guess it's not. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, deep sleep mode has been enabled on this. Once you get your blade in, you're ready to go, right? So, let's see. Do I have to? Yeah, twist activate. So once you get your blade in and it's tight, you are good to go. You know, I gotta say, I say this every time I do a CFX video. I just feel like the blade animations on CFX look way different than Profi. And that's likely because of how animations are handled, like on Profi. On CFX, it's bitmapped, right? They're bitmap images that are, that data line sends a bitmap image through the blade, right? So, if I recall correctly, yep. Oops. Where's my UI?
Sound
There we go.
selection.
See, this is why I need to learn CFX, because I forgot how to get to the UI settings.
Sister,
All right.
wherever you are, second sister.
Outstanding.
Okay. I like that blade animation. Right, anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just put a 7/8 inch blade in this side quillion. This absurdly long blade. Just to show that we're up and running. I'm not even going to tighten it, right? Okay. All right. So again, like I've set this up with the stock blade animation package. You know, the quillion animations might have to be changed a little bit. Okay. See what else we got on here.
Sound bank selection.
11 seconds.
This sounds really great. One more. Oops.
Sound bank selection.
You're in fire.
Okay. All right. So that's it. That is the Crossguard from KR Sabers with a Tierfon hybrid chassis in it, right? So to the customer, thank you very, very much for your patience. This one was a long time coming, so I'm happy to get this complete and off in the mail to you. To the viewers, if anyone has any questions, please do not be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Thanks for watching, everybody.